Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we are on episode 97.
97. We're getting close to that 100.
We are. We're going live.
Ooh, is that going to be a Wednesday episode or a Sunday episode? I'm not
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
I don't math well.
I don't know. Let's see. 97. We got Level Up Book Review 98. And then we have
It's going to be a Sunday episode.
Update episode. It's going to be a Sunday episode. So it's going to be, it's kind of good because it's been kind of tough, getting interviews right now in the midst of Q4, right?
That's true.
So we're going to go live for episode 100 on YouTube.
Whoa.
So, hey.
And of course, you can still catch us on the Anchor afterwards.
On the Anchor? Who's on Anchor?
On the Anchor.
I love Anchor. They're a sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of people on Anchor.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? The podcast. You can find us on the podcast.
Anyways, but here's the thing. We want you on the live because, it'd be kind of rough if we were on there and there's like 5 people watching.
Just me and you. Yeah.
But you know what? If it was 5 only, every 5 of you would be important.
That's right.
You all matter. It'd just be nice if it was a crowd.
Yeah. It'd be super sweet. So join us. We'll release the times and stuff coming up here that we can kind of prep for it and make sure that, whatever you got going on that Sunday at that time, you can just drop that, go in front of a computer, pull out your smartphone and watch us on YouTube because, it's that awesome.
Yes, because you just stop everything you're doing in the middle of the holidays to watch PHP go live.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
But hey, here's the thing. I know we're organic and I know that, we pretty much don't edit anything and we've edited a few things here and there, but live just has a different feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we've done IG live, but that's different. Like YouTube live is forever.
It's true.
So anyways, we'll get some moderators in there because I'm sure we'll have, some friendly people showing up too. So
yeah. If you wanna volunteer for moderating, let us know. We'll see if we can work something out. So
okay. I think we already have our 3.
Oh, do we?
We do.
Perfect.
I got 3.
Then never mind.
What if we have more moderators than people that show up?
Got to be prepared. Better prepared than not prepared.
All right. Anyway,
which, are we prepared for this episode?
We are prepared for this episode. It is super organic. Is that's another word for saying unprepared?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think at this point we've said we're organic enough that we're like certified organic. Like we know somebody who does that, right?
We do. Yeah. One of my good friends. Yeah, that's what he does.
So maybe we can work on actually getting like the FDA certified organic seal on our podcast.
Would our value go up? Like organic stuff?
Maybe. I
don't know. But anyways, so this episode, we had a conspiracy episode that we were ready to roll.
Yeah, and we're actually still gonna do it, but there were some things that happened that kind of, shook us to our core a little bit, and we had to kind of process and figure out how we're gonna deal with it. And some calls came in that were a little shocking, and so we want to make sure that those people's identities are protected before we make that episode. So all of that being said,
how'd you say that with a straight face? That's all I want to know. Like, I'm here dying in the corner, everything you're saying, and you're just very serious about it, as if
this is serious.
I know. It just cracks me up. So, okay.
All right. But this is kind of our Thanksgiving episode. So this is releasing on Wednesday, which is huge holidays for everybody, right? Because we've got Thanksgiving coming up, which is really big. And then we've got Black Friday, which for a reseller is like another holiday, right? So we realize you guys are really, really busy at this time of the year. But we wanted to take a time to kind of be thankful for just a lot of different things, what we've kind of learned through this process, all the different stuff that we've got going on, things we've learned, people we've talked to. And so as you're going into your Thanksgiving and you might be thinking and making dinners and all of those things, I know it's a time that gets hectic and crazy, especially if you're thinking about Q4 and you're shopping on Black Friday. And so we wanted to take a moment to kind of just step back a little bit and just think of all of the blessings and the amazing things in our life.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I actually titled this episode, "Can we be thankful as resellers?"
I hope so.
I hope so too, or we're in the wrong game.
Yeah. And just to be clear though, this will be reseller focused. So we're not just going to talk about all the things we're thankful in our lives. You ever do that like at Thanksgiving dinner when like we go around the table? Like I love those traditions sometimes, but like sometimes like, man, like can we do this like while the food's still cooking? Like, cause I'm hungry. I want to jump in and eat. Like, because then, you got that uncle that we talked about last week, and then they want to spend 15 minutes talking about stuff they're thankful for. You don't hear from them all year long, but then you get the, this thankful, and you're just like, I'm thankful for that turkey that's sitting right there, and I just want to eat it right now.
That is true. The other part is it's always rough when you force people to be thankful. right? Because then they come up with stuff and you're like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's got to come from a place that's like actually real. You genuinely feel it. And so
real and relevant.
That's right. Real relevant thankfulness.
All right. So I kind of broke this down into 3 parts. And we got our hustles of the week.
Hustle of the week.
And we actually got a 4th one. That's how thankful we are for our listeners.
Yeah, we wanted to share some of the love that you guys continue to share with us with these hustles of the week.
So we have platforms, possibilities, and people.
Oh man, I like the alliteration there.
That's what we're thankful for. Well, this was on the fly.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much this was on the fly, but this can be good. All right. Let's talk about platforms. It's kind of weird, right? At the Thanksgiving table, would you go, I want to talk about how I'm thankful for platforms.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, but at the same time, like when we consider that this is a job and it's unlike a lot of other jobs, like a lot of people may not always enjoy their employment, but if you really step back and think, like a lot of people would say, you know what, I am actually thankful that I have a job. I could be in a position where I don't have a job. I'm not able to provide. And so as a reseller, it's always a little bit awkward when you're trying to explain to people how you make money. And so, yeah, so I think different platforms and what platforms allow and what they kind of do for us is a part of that employment. And so being thankful for them is a good thing.
Well, and the reason I bring this about is you hear a lot of negativity out there. And some of it is, I hate saying this, deserved, maybe.
Legitimate.
Yeah. Is that a better word? It's probably the better word. Deserved, legitimate. I like that. So, we hear things like it's fee-bay, right? Or, I always call
share mark. Is that what we can call Poshmark?
Share mark. I don't know if there is a negative connotation to Poshmark.
Yeah, it's the sharing.
Is it really?
I mean, okay, so I don't know.
Maybe I'm not in that world. Is that what it happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, like you can pick anything and find negative in it. Like you can have the best job in the entire world and you're still going to be able to say like, oh man, the schedule with this or my coworker here, or like there's always going to be something you can point out, and that doesn't diminish them. Like there are legitimate concerns that you can have. But I think, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit with our level up reviews, is that if you go at it with that mindset, if you kind of constantly have the negative mindset about the things that go wrong, then that's all you're going to see. And it just feeds into itself and it's never good. But when you kind of look at it and say, well, hey, I can do something about this, so I will, and I can't do something about this, so I won't, and I'm not even going to, worry about it, and I'm just going to move forward. And having a heart of gratitude, right, is kind of the, the cliche way of saying it, but it really does help. Like I've done it before where I've just done, I'm going to be positive today. I'm going to put a smile on my face and I'm going to treat every situation like it's a good situation. When I see people, instead of, how's it going? It's really easy, especially like if you're at like a work and you're around the water cooler, to be like, man, this and this and this. And you don't walk away from that feeling any better, right? You walk away from that feeling worse. But if you're like, I'm doing great. Like my kid's doing this and I've got this going on, or like with me, my students just did this. And when you share positive stuff, then the other person is more likely to share positive stuff. And then you both leave feeling a little bit better.
Agreed. And social media is kind of that water cooler.
Right.
So you got to be careful. But here's the thing. So all the time, and we're not sponsored by eBay. We do have, our love for eBay. They are our bae. And, we have friends in the eBay workplace. Mm-hmm. But, a lot of people talk about, oh, you have all these fees, right? And we've talked about it ourselves. We're guilty of it too. You have the final value fee. Then you have the PayPal fee. And if you have promoted listings, you have that fee. And then if you charge shipping, you have a fee on that, right? But if you think about it. If let's say we're just talking about the final value fee and the PayPal fee, right? And unless you're doing managed payments, which it's less. And you're doing free shipping, okay? It's 13%. But think about that. With that 13%, you are able to sell something to a whole wide world, right? And something that reminded me about this, it's actually my hustle of the week later on, but I should just share now. And I won't share what the hustle of the week is. But this individual that I was able to make a connection with, she knows her stuff. Like she had been in the antique business for several years. She actually had a full store. And now she does bids for estate sales, and then she runs estate sales, and then, the stuff that she has to sell off, she finds people, and I'll talk about that later on in our hustle of the week. But when we were talking, I explained to her, I said, here's the issue. The stuff that I'm buying, it's going to take a long time, some of these items. And she goes, oh, I know that. And this is why I approached you, because the only people that are going to see these items right now are the people that walked into that estate sale. Right. So unless there was that right person that showed up into the estate sale that wanted that one item, I'm not going to be able to sell this. And she goes, Orlando, but you do eBay and I do some eBay, but I don't want to put in the work. And I was like, well, it's all good. She goes, you're going to have access to millions of people and you're going to be able to sell this for more money a lot faster than I can. And I go, huh, you're so right. Because if you think about it, right, if we didn't have platforms like eBay or Amazon or Poshmark or Mercari or Etsy or Go or StockX or Bonanza, or am I missing one here?
Probably 50.
Together.
So many.
Do you know about Together?
Facebook Marketplace. Did you mention that one?
Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, all these, right? And Facebook Marketplace actually has a fee now, right?
Does it?
Mm-hmm. And so
only for shipping or
no, I think it's for shipping, but I think there's other stuff coming.
Really?
And I know Craigslist, if you try to sell a car, I think if you try to relist it, they have a fee because my buddy just dealt with that.
Yeah, I think. Really?
Yeah. Huh. He sent it to me. He goes, "What is this? This is Craigslist." Like what? And I go, "Hey, you know what? We're lucky that for the last 20 years they weren't charging fees."
Yeah, and I remember. I mean, eBay was around when I was young, but I remember what was really big, kind of before eBay took off. Do you remember the penny saver?
Oh yeah, it's still around. Oh, I still get it in the mail.
So I remember as a kid, that was like Christmas to me. It was getting the penny saver and just looking through, especially like I like to look through like the pet section or like used electronics, right? And I would just read through, and it just amazed me that these people were giving away stuff and you could find it, right? And yeah, now with like Craigslist, and even though Craigslist is outdated, you got Facebook Marketplaces, you've got all of these opportunities. And so, just being thankful for the time that we live in. I even just think when we're talking about platforms, even just the fact that we have these platforms on a mobile device is huge. The fact that you can go and scan and look, it still takes work. Like the amount of risk you take is a lot less now, but it doesn't diminish the amount of work you have to put into reselling. And so it's not like these tools just make it so that way reselling is destroyed because everybody could do it. Because we've talked about before, most people don't have the tenacity to just keep going and work through it and learn things. They want the easy. And so, these are tools that are now available to the people, I guess you could say like the real hustlers, right? Like the people who want to use them and want to work. And it's a lot of work to learn a new platform. And it's a lot of work to deal with, these fees on this platform and this return policies on this one are different than this one. And it's a lot to manage, but each one of those is another tool in your toolbox.
No, agreed. And again, you think about the fact that now we have multiple platforms, right? So eBay is pretty much king when it comes to secondhand items, right? But you could sell pretty much anything. Again, I keep talking about, yes, the fees, yes, things are getting higher, but still, if you think about how much access, right? You don't have to do any little legwork, right? There was a point in time, and some people might disagree. I tried to look into Shopify, and I was going to do Shopify, but there's so much heavy lifting, right? The marketing, the getting traffic, all that, Facebook ad, like all that. Where on eBay or on Posh or wherever, you just list the item and you already automatically have access to all those people. Now, the access is, a little more limited now because you can do promoted listings, right? Which gives you greater access. But that's the trend all around. It's not like eBay is doing something that's different than other platforms. Amazon's been doing that for a long time with pay-per-click and so on. Right. And so it's such I'm thankful for the fact that, yes, do I have to pay fees? Sure. But those fees to me are minimal for the fact that you can make a full-time living selling on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and again, the amount of the risk you're taking. And I mean, because I get frustrated. I'll admit I get frustrated with the eBay stores and the fact that it's, you got to pay for this and pay for that. But again, realistically, if I were to have the overhead of an actual store, not only is it more money, but the risk is more, right? Because you have to upfront a lot. You've got a lot more, when you talk about overhead, you're talking about like you're paying like months in advance on lots of things. Internet, you're paying for lighting, you're paying for electricity, you're paying for the building, you're paying for places. Like there's a lot that's involved in having a physical brick and mortar store. And eBay takes a lot of that away. And so you kind of got to figure like, well, if I had a brick and mortar store, these would be things I would have to, deal with. And if I feel like the risk of failure is so much higher in a brick and mortar store, right? If you go under and you're a business owner and you got a brick and mortar store, that can have more ramifications, I think, long term than if your eBay business flops and you just got to go back to work and now you just got to find something to do with the inventory, right? Like it's less of a, I feel like, I mean, people can go into debt. I mean, you can definitely go into debt buying inventory for eBay, but I think the overall risk is less, which is nice. And then, again, with all of these platforms and being thankful, I think being thankful for the platforms is understanding too, there's a long view, right? There's a long view of yes, when new things roll out, like we were just talking about on our last interview with who was it, Etsy, that's got a new policy.
Oh, yeah.
When those things roll out, it can be devastating to you. It can make a big impact. It can cut into your bottom line temporarily. It can cut into your bottom line maybe permanently. But I think understanding these platforms are working in a capitalistic society where they have to find ways to bring us, the seller, right? And so it will work out. Like there might be a time where things happen and eBay makes a decision or Amazon makes a decision and they start seeing a cut in their bottom line because people are jumping ship.
Mhm.
And when that happens, they're going to correct. They're going to say, okay, like, and part of it's just a figuring out game. Like they're like, can we squeeze a little bit more money out of our sellers? Are they going to be okay with this amount? And it's the market trying to find the fair price. Right. And if they ever exceed what is actually a fair price, people will stop using them. Another platform will come along. And again, we have those platforms available to us. And I feel like in the long run, the market will kind of work itself out. But in the short run, having multiple platforms is something to be thankful for.
Agreed. And, I wanted to talk about Amazon a little bit because, and again, to me, eBay and Amazon are worlds apart. And the reason they're worlds apart is because I actually believe there's people behind eBay or Amazon. I can't say that, and we'll talk about that later because some of the greatest impact have been people within the eBay community, right? Amazon, there are friends that I've developed that are FBA, but, it's to me, Amazon is very robotic. But if you think about the fact that you can go into a retail store and sell something within 10, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of something hitting the warehouse, like that's huge. So last week, I found an item. I scanned. Think about it. The fact that we can even scan, right? Not even with our phones, but that there are scanners that are faster than our phones that break down the math.
Pretty inexpensive.
I mean, the app I use is only about, I think, $10 a month. Mm-hmm. Right. And the savings I have. And then I use other apps now with Amazon that allow me to be more competitive. But I was thinking about this. I walked in the store. I find 5 items. Right. And they're about, I think it was like $18 with tax included. And, the ranking was super low. I sent them into the warehouse. The moment they hit the warehouse, all 5 sold. I instantly had $100 net profit. Right. That fast. Right. You think about that. There isn't another time in history that I can think about that you can sell items that quick, right? Because, there was time for me having to buy it, go home, prep it, ship it out to the warehouse, but that was instant, right? And so I'm thankful for the fact that as long as we can, because here's the other thing I thought about too, was there's an article that I read about how brands are unhappy with Amazon. This was dealing with Nike, but they're unhappy with Amazon because Amazon doesn't gate more sellers.
Right.
Right. And I kind of understood their perspective. I know that's hard to say, but if you have a brand and you're worried about counterfeits, or I remember reading one story about an individual that kept getting stuff returned to them that people would buy from Amazon.
Right.
Right. And they had no way to figure out.
Yeah. Like especially when you're dealing with like warranties and stuff like
correct.
that. Correct.
Yeah. Right. But the fact that Amazon is still, and who knows how long this will happen for, willing, and yes, I know they're going to make money off of us. I get that. We got to live in that world and understanding that this is what it's about. But that I can still sell thousands upon thousands of brands for good money, especially Q4, and that I could have a month and a half where I can, and I'm hoping, I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but where I can make just as much in that month and a half on Amazon as I made all year. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So just, if anybody, Jeff Bezos, if you're out there listening, we're grateful that you've allowed us to do Amazon FBA.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very thankful.
That's just, that was hard to say.
Was it?
Like I can say, thanks, eBay. Appreciate you, but Amazon, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Next time you cash out on your Amazon, just remember
Uncle Bezos.
Yeah. Just remember, like you got to be thankful, right? Like you said, you're a history guy, so just think back like the old days of kind of what we do in some ways is almost like the what's the proper term for it? Like somebody who would go from place to place and buy things and sell it, like kind of a traveling. Well, yeah, merchant, but like I'm thinking more like there was a lot of negative connotations to people who would do that stuff, right? These like,
oh yeah, that's another thing we should talk about too. Like think about it. 10 years ago, resellers, we were pretty much seen as scammers.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I mean, maybe in the IG, well, there is no IG community. Maybe amongst resellers, it didn't seem like that. But I remember growing up, people didn't understand the difference between price gouging, right, and fair market,
right.
Because price gouging is when there's something that people need and they need it and you hike up that price. That's price gouging, right? What we do is we work within the market.
Yep.
Right. There's a big difference, right? These aren't things that people need, right? People don't need my vintage LL Bean bomber jacket I just sold. They don't need that.
Yeah. And beyond just the need too, I mean, I think that's a good distinction to make. But yeah, it comes down to the fair market price. Like how many times you get told, something is only as valuable as somebody is willing to pay for it, right? And so, we get those questions all the time. Like, how can you buy these toys for, these prices and then sell them for these other prices? And it's like, well, because realistically, the current market price is that. And reselling is, and we talked about this last year during Q4, reselling is that like rare thing it's needed in the market. I would imagine every market has something similar to this, right? Because a store, like a big store, Target is not going to be able to fluctuate their prices based off of demand, right? There's an estimated, like, here's the supply we have, here's the demand for it, here's like the set price on it. But I think people get in their minds that like an item only costs a certain price because that's what it sells at the store. Well, realistically, they might not have enough of it. It sells out. People go to stores, it's not there. The price was too low. Realistically, the price is too low. Because if it was priced right, there'd be an equilibrium of supply and demand. Right. So when it comes down to it, resellers kind of make up that other entity that helps correct market prices and provides the values. Because if you are willing to pay $100 for a $20 toy, but they're not in any stores because the Target wasn't able to adjust for that, people were buying these toys at $20 a pop. Well, we can now are the ones that's able to get that toy to you for the fair market price that you're willing to pay.
Agreed. And the other thing is, and we've shared this multiple times, that we're personal shoppers, right? How many times have you received, many of you have received a message from somebody saying, I've been looking for so long for this item and I'm so grateful, right? And you sold it for a decent amount of money. You made decent profit, but that individual would have paid even more probably for that item, had they not had access to eBay, right? So just something to think about.
Yep.
So,
good.
All right, let's talk about the possibilities.
Possibilities are endless, my friend.
No, why are they endless?
I mean,
I think they're as endless as your hustle.
That's what I mean. Like depending on what you're willing to do, and I'm thinking about this with just a lot of stuff, right? Like there's the possibility of like how much you can make, and we've seen this growth with Heather now that she's staying home and she's putting in more. Like our store has increased exponentially the amount of items we have listed. We had a lot of inventory reserves kind of sitting around. And now that I'm sourcing stuff, it's getting put up right away. It's getting shipped out same day. So we're seeing increases in sales. So the possibilities there for increase, obviously the more hustle you put in, but then like other things too, like we've already talked a little bit about social media, but there's just so many possibilities of ways of impacting people's lives, using reselling as a way to improve your own life, improve others' lives. It really is an amazing thing.
Well, yeah. And I've shared this before, but it's been a while. When I first started reselling, the first flip I had there were a few. So I'm trying to remember the one I really got serious. It was this welding thing. I don't know. It was antique-ish. I thought it was worth money. It was only worth $10, right? But I paid $5 and I flipped it for 10 and I doubled my money. I sold it to an antique store. Maybe it was worth a lot more and I didn't know. But I'll never forget. Do you remember the story about when my stepdaughter had asked me for some money and I pulled out a wad of cash? Do you remember the story?
I think you remember.
Okay, it's been a long time. We have a lot of new listeners, but I'll never forget that feeling after getting serious about, reselling, and my stepdaughter needed to go somewhere, and she had approached me and, she had said, Dad, I need some money to go to the movies and blah, blah. And I remember months before, like things were super tight. Yep. I mean, it was paycheck to paycheck. Right. And I always I remember having to do Saturday schools, which, those aren't fun. You spend 4 hours and I would only make $100 in 4 hours. Now that's not bad money.
Right.
But it's a Saturday morning. Right. Yep. Which this was before I understood garage sales.
Yep.
Like think about that. $100 would be one stop at a garage sale.
Yep.
Right. I took on so many different things. I would I would do tutoring. I was the lunch duty guy.
Yep.
You went through this, Mike.
Yep,
Mike did the
it.
same
I took
action.
on
Mike was my predecessor,
Yep,
right?
I took on every possible extra stipend I could take on,
Yep.
and then took on reselling too in order to help. And then reselling was the thing that opened up even more possibilities.
Yep, I remember that. So I'll never forget. She had asked me for money, and then I just pulled out this wad of cash. I had like $160 in cash. I'll never forget this because, and hopefully it was 160, and that's what I said in podcast number 5. But whatever it was a decent amount that I never had before. Where it was just, I did do the Dave Ramsey where you have the blow money, just money you can spend on whatever, but it never was $160, right? So I'm able to give it to her, and I never worried about her giving it back to me. And I remember how good that felt, right? I was so thankful for the fact that I was able to sell on eBay. I remember one summer, we talk about teaching, and some contracts are 10 months and some are 12 months. I had a 10-month contract. So one summer was just, I thought I had enough savings to cover rent. Didn't happen, right? But then I stumbled across a bunch of textbooks, and I sold them on Amazon, and it more than paid for my rent, right? So I think about all these moments, right? Where if it wasn't reselling, I wouldn't be able to do this. There was a point in time where every weekend, I was able to go out with my family and never have to worry about how, dinners as a family cost money.
Yeah.
I was a family of 5 at one point, and that's over $100 easily.
Yep.
Right. But that's not actually my Sunday tradition is family dinner. And I never stress off of it. Where I remember there was a point in time where we had to budget and we could only do it once a month.
Right.
Right. And those of you that have kids, as they get older, maybe some of you agree, the only way you really get to spend quality time with your kids once they become teenagers is when you spend money. I know that sounds, but you gotta take them to Disneyland, or you gotta do a family dinner. You may have that rare exception where you have that incredible family that likes to take hikes together, right? That's doable too, right? But I know as far as us, unless it was something that they could get out of it, like our kids were kind of, we just want to hang out with ourselves, you know what I mean? Or hang out with their buddies, right? But for hey, due to reselling, we're able to get season tickets to Disneyland. Man, some of the greatest, family memories were created as a result of reselling to buy Disneyland tickets, which you kind of experienced the same, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, right now, not only is my wife able to stay home, and she's hustling. I mean, she hustles hard doing all of this reselling stuff with me. But she's got season pass to Disneyland, and it's like every other week she's taking my son to Disneyland. And, it's amazing to me to know that they get to have that time together. And it's largely due to reselling it. I mean, I would say majority of it is reselling. I mean, we downsized too, which has helped. But I mean, even the downsizing would have never happened. It wouldn't even been on our radar if it wouldn't have been for reselling. And so, I would definitely say it has been beyond life-changing for sure.
Agreed. And here's the other component I want to talk about is I talk about pulling that lever, right? Or putting that, putting that pedal down and doing what you need to do. But that's another thing that I enjoy, that I'm grateful about reselling, is that you can make more money if you need to. It does take a lot of hustle. It takes grind. But, I think about right now, Q4, right? I could kind of slow it down a bit, and I could make a decent amount of sales, and I could just pay the bills. Or if I want to, I could work as if sleep doesn't exist, and I'll be able to enjoy some time away in January, February, March, and April, which is kind of the times I travel with my kids, if I put in that hustle now, right? So you have that ability. Now, I know everybody has different time constraints, right? So I'm full-time, so it's, I have a lot more time available, right? Where you're in the classroom all day, and it makes it more difficult. But if you choose to, you can still do that. Hey, I'm going to work from 9 p.m. to 2 in the morning thing, which I did for a while to get to a place to be in full time. But the fact that you have the possibility, the fact that you have the options, to me, that is something I'm extremely grateful for.
No, it's huge. And yeah, I mean, just recapping what you said there, like as a teacher, there are units where I spend countless hours ahead of time prepping stuff. During the unit, I do all kinds of extra stuff, and we're talking like hours and hours outside of school, and I don't get paid anymore for that unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I can do that same unit with a couple less projects, and it won't be as engaging for the students, and I might not grade as thoroughly, and I'm going to get paid the same, right? And so it doesn't matter how much more I hustle. Now, in the long term, I feel like I'm a firm believer that whatever company you're at, whatever industry you're in, because you might be moving companies, but whatever industry you're in, if you're the best at what you do all the time, the money's going to follow it. I heard somebody say one time, and it stuck with me. You get paid today for the work you did 5 years ago, right? So the work you're putting in now in an industry or in a company, you might not be seeing the impact of that until later. But reselling is one of those few things where, it's kind of like a commission-based job or a sales job where you can say, you know what, I am going to go out and make one more stop and I'll make more money, right? So when you put in that extra work, there's financial compensation for it immediately, not just 5 years down the road as contacts build and your reputation builds and those types of things. And one more thing I want to say with possibilities is I find it interesting that, for instance, the tripod that my camera's on right now, the speaker system, I have a really nice speaker system in my office. All of these things are things that I've sourced for very, very, very great deals. So like the possibility of even just, if you're a collector of things, if you're really into something or you've got a hobby, I'm really into camera gear. I all that kind of stuff. And it's not every day I find it, but I found a really nice glide cam, which is an expensive like smoothing thing that you can buy that's normally like $180. And I got it for like $40 at a garage sale, almost brand new. And it took a year and a half of reselling before I found that glide cam. But if you're doing that, if you're constantly in thrift stores, if you're constantly in garage sales, the possibilities of finding deals for yourself is amazing too. And so that's something to think about. If that was something you would have bought or maybe wouldn't have purchased because of the price, but now you can purchase it or you're able to purchase it at an extreme savings, that's a huge thing to be thankful for, I think, for being a reseller. I don't know of many other jobs where just on the day-to-day, it's like, ooh, I could use this, right?
No, and again, it's about a mindset thing, understanding that, yes, this item is going to bring back money. It's kind of like you make a sale, but you're not making a sale. The profit's there because that's one less thing you have to spend money on.
Yep. Or like when you buy gifts for other people, right? Like,
we've talked about
I do that all the time, right? Like you're somewhere and you're like, oh, so-and-so would love this thing. Their birthday's coming up in 2 months. I'm going to buy it for $10. If I were to buy this new at a store, it'd be $49. So they're getting, a lot of times it's brand new stuff, or maybe it is vintage, right? Like if they're into vintage stuff, but you can be getting brand new stuff for a fraction of the price. And so, so even though I'm not selling this, I'm still getting a $40 net gain in my bank account because that's not money I've spent.
Agreed. A lot of possibilities out there.
Possibilities are endless, my friends.
I feel
to
like,
infinity and beyond.
Oh my! Thank you, Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, my son's really into Buzz Lightyear right now. So
that was a pretty awesome gift. I saw somebody got him like a
giant one.
So Mike and I actually have hung out outside of the podcast.
Yeah,
and we're actually having Thanksgiving together.
I know. We got to do another IG story.
We have to with you with the turkey leg. If you don't remember last year, Mike decided to just start gnawing on a turkey leg in our IG story. Which is great. Hey, it's Thanksgiving.
Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. All right. But I think it's time for us to be thankful for something else.
Yeah. What's that?
I don't know. But
are we going to do our spiel first or?
We should. Hey, by the way, if you haven't had a chance, we're also on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Facebook as Pure Hustle Podcast. So check us out. It's funny. I want to share this. Somebody approached us about our TikToks and go, they're kind of cringy, but they're informative.
They're cringy.
It's all good though. But this is the world we live in. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Like right? we've got, our commitment is to provide the best quality and content that we can on the podcast and Instagram. We try and provide the best quality and content. And then on other platforms, we're just going to be silly. And if you're into that, you're into that. And if you're not, oh well.
100%. We have some things that you're going to have to just go with.
Maybe it'll be cringe. Maybe it'll be pro status. We'll see. We'll see how it's received.
We'll see. There's so much behind what you just said.
Yeah. Just wait.
All right.
This is not a conspiracy.
No, it's not a conspiracy. Hey, by the way, if you have any ideas about the conspiracy episode, you still want to get in last moment, right? You can always, DM us on Instagram or send us a message on Facebook or on TikTok even, Pure Hustle Podcast. You can also on Twitter, Pure Hustle Cast. You can shoot us an email at purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. That's purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. Or leave us a voicemail. And, if we need to disguise your voice for anonymity purposes, we're down with that. So
we'll do what we got to do.
You do what we got to do. So 619-738-1170. That's 619-738-1170.
Truth will prevail.
And as always, if you ever want to say thank you to us in a monetary way, there's a link below. That's another thing we are so extremely grateful for. Like, do you remember when we talked about doing this?
Yep.
And you're like, we both kind of were like, who's gonna donate anything, right? We're just a bunch of bald guys doing a podcast.
That's right.
Right.
Don't forget the beards.
Bearded guys. hey, people like our 10-year picture. Do you see what people post on Instagram? They're telling us basically never shave the beards.
Yep.
So this is gonna shave one day.
Yeah.
My wilderness beard. Mike wants it to go away.
I think with beards, it's about maintenance. So it's maintaining, like finding a level you like and then keeping it there neatly, because you can go from nice tame to out of control really quickly. Because you go in, I feel like beards, like I read a meme one time. It's like you go through stages, and I don't remember what the first ones are, but then at the latter stages, you go to crazy man. And then after crazy man is like wise sage. But you've got to go through the crazy man, and nobody really wants to go through that first.
So where do you think I am right now, Mike? Honest opinion.
You're not to crazy man yet.
I'm not. Okay. I feel like I'm a crazy man. There's days, not that anybody on the podcast cares, but there's days that I feel that beard is crazy man. And then there's other days I'm able to tame it.
Yeah. Pure Hustle Podcast grooming tips. Special we got coming up here pretty soon.
And if any beard companies or bald companies want to sponsor us,
bald companies?
We're here for you. Whatever it is. Shaving head companies. Like the one company I use, I'm going to reach out to them, because I use their products all the time. It'd be great if they sponsored us.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
there's got to be some other bald-headed, bearded resellers out there.
Oh, there's a lot of them. So, okay. The other thing. Oh, hey. By the way, we're also grateful for all the reviews. You guys are so kind, and we read those, and I'm like, let's keep doing this. Let's make it happen, right? And the fact that you give us feedback, we really appreciate that. And again, we're always willing to admit, hey, sometimes, we drop the ball. Sometimes we're not, at the top of our game.
You mean we're not perfect?
Well, yeah, we're not perfect. Yeah. Probably 99% of the time. But there's that 1% that shines through. But we're grateful. So thank you, all of you. And hey, we're almost at 200 reviews. We're about, I think, 9 or 10 away since I last checked. So if we can make that happen, we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, that'd be huge. So we appreciate it. All right. And
Here we
without
go.
further ado, come on, hustlers. It's the freaking hustle of the week. Yeah.
Hello. Now you got me moving a little more.
That's right.
More than
get the juices flowing.
More than a project we're working on.
Oh, no, that's going to be crazy.
All right.
So, hustle of the week. Our first one comes from Daniel, IG handle at Sir Flips a Lot. Love that name. And the hustle of the week from a few months back, at Flip for More works with at Sir Flips a Lot. I like both those names. Those are great.
No, but so do you remember that one hustle of the week by Flip for More where they actually blurred it in the warehouse?
Oh, yeah.
So this is this crew.
Nice. Okay. And so they had mentioned a rivalry in the warehouse about who would get the first hustle of the week. They actually blasted the hustle of the week in the warehouse. I remember that. That was awesome. So they came across a set of speakers at a garage sale and paid $25. These were Totem Acoustics, Dreamcatcher, sound system speakers, and subwoofer.
Have you ever heard of Totem?
I feel like I should, but I haven't.
I know, that's what I felt. I'm like, I should know this, but I don't. Did you mention how much they paid? Did I miss that?
Yeah, it's not on here.
Oh,
they paid $25.
Oh, it's on there.
How much did they make?
I have a lot of typos in there.
Yeah, but how much did they make?
How much did they make? Is it not on there?
It's not on there. They made a lot of money.
No, they sold
so much money that there wasn't even room for the zeros on this page to put them all there. That's how much they sold these totems for.
You're great at stalling, Mike.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
You're welcome. I'm thankful for you.
So, do you want to read the amount? It's pretty impressive.
There's a lot of zeros there. So, sold it for $800 with $132.95 shipping. So, $932.95 from $25 purchase. That's pretty amazing. Way to go, Sir Flips a Lot.
Yeah.
And at Flip More.
Let's make it so it blurs in the warehouse, right? It's a great hustle of the week, Daniel.
Yeah.
Sir Flips a Lot on Instagram.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Hustle of the week.
Oh man, that was a little much. All right.
I thought we just needed to make it for the warehouse.
Yeah, we're gonna blow out their speakers and their eardrums.
All right. So let me go with my hustle of the week. Not my hustle, but somebody else's hustle of the week. So we got JT, IG handle _JTOR, JTORRE. And they're super part-time. And I love hearing, and these are, I think all of our resellers here that share the hustle of the week are part-time. And I love part-time hustle of the week because that's the beauty of it. Where, you're not there 40 hours a week, but then there's that one time you're like, I need to do this more. So they part-time, they sell on eBay, Etsy, and Posh. They bought a whole bunch of vintage 80s tees for about 25 cents a piece from a garage sale. Super generic, right? You know, you see those generic 80s tees. And back in the day, before I really did research, I used to pick up stuff like that all the time.
I think you're reading the wrong one.
Am I reading the wrong one? Yeah. No, I'm reading the right one. Oh, no, it's okay. We're just going to,
got to change the IG handle.
You know, it was a late night for me.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Orlando's packing all night long. I helped him carry his boxes into the store, man. It was like 11 boxes or something crazy like that.
It was 11 boxes and it's 3 a.m. So, you know, appreciate you bearing with us. Okay. I even wrote these notes. That's the worst part about it. All right. Jeff, I apologize. No, JT, I apologize. Let's get back to you, JT. JT, IG handle _JTORRE. This is a hustle a week. And this is one of those where you have to be first on a drop. You ever buy stuff that gets dropped? Like Supreme or anything? It's so hard. Like, unless you know bots or you know people, it's really hard to take advantage of it. Well, JT purchased an American Eagle 2019 1-ounce silver enhanced reverse proof coin.
That sounds amazing.
Do you know what that is?
Nope, but it sounds awesome.
It's from a minute. For $69.95. And a lot of people on IG did. There was posts all over IG about it.
Oh, okay. So it's like, is it like an official mint coin?
Correct.
Like, okay. Yeah.
Correct.
I used to buy silver to use as my little 401k.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people did on this one. We weren't on the drop, but that's okay because we were busy making money doing other things. But flipped it. I believe this is within 24 hours. I saw a lot of people for $799.99.
That's no joke.
And I believe the value on those have gone up. That's what's crazy because some people had messaged me and they're like, hey, Orlando, I got this. You know, the only thing I regret is that I sold this too fast. And so it's just something to think about. Now, do you have any right now that you have currently on hold somewhere? Like you're like in a safety deposit box?
No, I wasn't doing like special mints or anything. I was just buying like an ounce of silver at a time. Like every paycheck I'd go. The thing though with silver is you really need to buy in bulk because of taxes, at least where we're at. If you don't buy at least $1,500 in silver, you have to pay like, it's like a crazy like 8% or 11% tax fee on the silver. Whereas if you buy $1,500, at least this is what it was back when I was doing it, you don't have to pay that. Okay. And so the appreciation of silver over time wasn't outpacing like the fees that I was paying. Like I would get like the 8% growth over a year or two and it's like sweet, but it's like now if I sold it, it would just break even. So I just liquidated it. So I don't have any more physical silver, but I'm thinking about maybe getting back into physical silver and gold or, adding that in, just make my portfolio a little diversified,
Sounds so legit.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing with silver. I'm looking at the solds right now. The most recent, it's already gone up to 1,000. Like there's over $1,000 sales on it, on that same coin. So still, the fact that you made that money that fast, JT, from 65 to 800.
Yeah. And that's one of the things you got to be thankful. It's easy to think like, man, if only. And my advice on that is hindsight's 2020, right? Quote of the week. There you go. You can always look and say, I sold too early or I paid too much but you've got to be thankful for what you got. You had a huge hustle of the week. That was amazing. Yeah. You could have maybe made a little bit more if you would have, done something different, but that doesn't take away from what you did earn. So that's amazing. That's an awesome hustle of the week. All right. Our next one comes from Jeff, Instagram handle at Jeff KU Jan Music Super.
Nope. It's just K-Jan Music.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Kujan Music.
Jeff Kujan Music?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sweet. Super.
Hope we pronounced that right. Yep. Our apologies, Jeff. We totally butchered your name.
That's all right. All right. So this is the one that Orlando is starting to read. So part-time seller, Etsy and Posh, bought a whole bunch of vintage 80s from only 25 cents, but a lot of them were very generic. One of them they thought was a 1981 Hall & Oates tour shirt.
Do you know who Hall & Oates is?
Nope.
Oh, here she comes. She's a man-eater.
That sounds familiar.
They're ultimate like 80s like music.
Is it like hair band?
No, not hair band.
Okay.
Just those of you that are in their 40s like me. I didn't listen to Hall & Oates. I was too little, but I remember like when I would watch MTV as a teenager, their videos would show up every once in a while. So
pretty crazy. Okay. So anyways, this Hall & Oates tour shirt,
like what?
listed in 1 week sold for $149.99 on Etsy. That's amazing. 25-cent purchase to $149. And like we talked about when we were talking to the college picker, Etsy is a good place. It seems like for those kinds of vintage clothing items.
There's our Hall & I'm showing Mike right now if you're listening to the podcast a picture of Hall & Oates.
Yeah, I don't know if showing pictures is going to help me at all on that, but they definitely look like they're from the
but
80s.
definitely not hair.
Yeah.
But that's not a hair band. Like that's, I mean, with that stash.
I mean, they're a band and they got some crazy hair.
Yeah, but they were like big time.
Yeah.
So actually, I think they have some more stuff that's been released in the 2000s.
You got to love when they come back, man.
So anyways, hey, thanks so much, Jeff at Jeff Kajan Music. Very much appreciated. All right. We got one more hustle of the week just because we're so grateful for all of you that, have been using the hashtag and been sharing with us. So Nacho, and that's not his name, but do you remember Nacho?
Nacho.
He had a hustle of the week back. I don't know, he's been a listener since day one.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you.
I loved getting all the comments on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah. It's super, super interactive. So IG handle nacho.tv. This is a mug life hustle of the week. And what happened? Where are the mug life? Like I haven't seen a trash talk in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. But we got a cool mug life video.
We do have. Was that our little
shameless plug?
Shameless plug. All right. So he went to the store that shall not be named. That's a thing now.
I like it.
Went to the store that shall not be named. Picked up a mug for $2, and it sat in his store for 10 months. It was a Dr. Katz mug. Do you know what Dr. Katz is? So Dr. Katz was is a cartoonist show on Comedy Central in the 90s. And probably has a super cult following, and this is why it sold for this much. So he found a mug that wasn't Dr. Katz, the main character. It was actually the secretary. And actually the mug had a chip on it. Paid $2. And he sold it for $249.99.
That's nuts.
That is mug life.
Yeah.
So
straight up mugging.
When's the last time you picked up a mug?
Like 3 weeks ago at the store that should not be named, and I paid I think like $2 for it, and it's going for like $49.
Oh, good.
I had some like $30 offers, so I know I'll get what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Occasionally I pick them up.
I picked up mugs. I just sold a bunch of Snoopy mugs and another mug for like about $100, and I paid like $10 for all of them.
Nice.
So yeah, there's still mugs out there. You just got to be really careful.
Yeah, and I just bought a Star Trek mug for 50 cents for myself.
Oh,
it's like an old school 80s Star Trek mug. I don't know. Maybe it's worth money. I might put it up and sell it. But I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's just what we were talking about. And here's the funny: the Mug Life video, that Disney mug that we have in there, you sold it, right?
I sold that. Yep.
Nice. Even after all that we went through.
Oh
with
yeah,
it?
Man. It's like bulletproof packaging. Did you hear what happened with the Tesla?
Oh yeah, no, with the glass. Yep. I saw the video. So they beat the armor of the vehicle, and that worked out. It was supposed to be, like you can't break it. And then the glass, they threw something at it, right?
And it shattered.
He's
like, this will stop a 9mm bullet, and they threw like a metal ball at it, and it shattered. And it's like,
But Elon played it cool.
Yeah.
But this is what I love. Like even right now, we've had a lot of fumbles in our podcast, and maybe some of you might disagree. I don't know, but we're human.
Yeah,
just the way it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we roll with it, and you move on, and you just enjoy life. So, anyways,
I feel like you're apologizing there a little bit. It's all good.
No, I feel kind of bad. Like I look at these typos, and I'm like, I must have been I was exhausted. It was like 3 a.m. I don't even remember what was going on. I just know I had a shipment that had to get sent out.
Yep.
So, thank you guys for dealing with me.
Yeah, we loved your hustles of the week. That was good stuff.
Can I shout them out one more time? I'm going to shout out one more time because I want to make sure we didn't mess up their name. So we got Daniel on Instagram, IG handle Sir Flips a Lot. We have JT, IG handle _JTORRE. We have Jeff, IG handle at Jeff Kujan. That's with the J, music on Instagram. And we have Nacho, IG handle nacho.tv. Thank you guys. And what about your hustle of the week, Mike?
All right. So actually, I had a really good weekend. This last weekend, I didn't go to garage sales because it was my son's birthday. And so we took the weekend off and just threw his party and had, family time. But the weekend before, I had a really, really good garage sale season, our session. It was amazing.
It felt like a season because of all the things you picked up.
Yeah. I mean, it was really good. In fact, at first I was like, oh, this isn't going so well. But then as the day went, it kept getting better and better. And then as I'm on my way home, we're past the golden hour, right? It's 11 o'clock. I'm like, okay, garage sales.
That's way past the golden hour.
I ain't going to find anything now. And so I text my wife and I'm like, I'm just going to stop at a couple thrift stores on my way home. And I go into 2 thrift stores, and one of them I picked up just a ton of stuff in bulk. and I'll talk about that probably in another podcast. And then I'm like, oh man, so I've got so much stuff here. Like I could just go home now and be happy. And I'm like, I'm just going to stop at one more. So I stopped at the store that should not be named. I didn't see anything there that I really wanted, except for I might be going to a goals game coming up here, which is like a local hockey team. And so I saw a goals hat and I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to go, I need some swag. And last time I went, it was, they wanted like $24 or something for a hat.
I have some for 25 in my store if you want them.
Nope. So I found this one for like $1.50 or $1.99 or whatever their hats are. And so I bought that. And as I'm checking out, thinking like, well, at least I save some money, right? Like possibilities. I'm like, I don't have to pay as much. As I'm checking out, and I'd already looked in their glass counter, their glass like little cabinet, and there was nothing good in there. And as I'm checking out, I look and I see this big, long, like 3-foot wooden boat, but just the base sitting on a box. And I'm like, what is that? And so I'm like looking at it as I'm like putting my card in and about ready to pay. And I ask, I'm like, how much is that boat? And I'm like trying to look it up and I'm typing in the words that are on it. And she's like, I don't know. The price is probably on there. So I walk over and I look and they wanted $49.99. I get a 10% discount and I look it up and these are going for like $375.
Nice.
Right. And it says on the box, the name of the boat and it says complete. So I had them take it down. I looked in, it had the mast and everything. And I was like, this is amazing. So I picked it up, I buy it. I'm going to make a huge profit on that. But I'm just thinking like, as I'm checking out, I'm ready to leave the store, already feeling pretty good about myself. Yeah. And I just did one more scan and I just looked and like in the distance, I could see it. And I'm like, I think something is there. And so I'm thankful for that. I'm really thankful that was, some hustle that paid off there, but just goes to show that like when you're hustling, sometimes it's easy to overlook things and to always be scanning, always have your eyes looking because there might be something that you missed. And you never know, you could be walking out the door, ready to load up your car. And it just like a glimmer of hope. It just catches your eye, just like a ray of sunshine, and it warms your soul and causes you to jump for joy inside.
Wow, reselling can do that, huh?
It sure can. When you've got a thankful heart, it does.
Are you saying I don't have a thankful heart?
Well,
I will tell you, it's been a little bit since I've had that warm, like, oh, I can't believe I just scored this, but it'll come back.
Yeah. You're in the midst of scanning items in stores, exactly, and sending out to Amazon.
100%.
Once you're on the treasure hunt, you're like a pirate. When you find that really rare sought after booty, you're happy.
I love how you use words that unless people understand what that word is,
I think everybody understands what pirate's booty is. I mean, they even have a snack called pirate's booty.
That is true. It's really good too, by the way.
It is yummy.
But okay, so you're right. That's one of the things I've shared before is that Amazon to me can feel like warehouse work. And that's exactly what last night was I had 200 units. Some of them were huge, items that I had to put in poly bags. I had to put the padding. I had to pack the boxes and but I'm still grateful for that opportunity. Okay. So let me share with you my hustle of the week before you play the hustle of the week sound. And then I can't share anymore. Okay. So one of the things I've talked about, if you follow us on Instagram, is that I'm really looking to just source for eBay about twice a week in this Q4, right? Because I want to spend a lot of my time in FBA because, here's the thing. It's kind of interesting. Somebody had mentioned, I forget somewhere, maybe it was on TikTok that, because I had posted about, I went to some stores, this is how much I paid and this is how much net profit I'm going to make. Somebody said, well, it's not worth it. You can get more at liquidations or at garage sales and so on. And I agree. You can make a lot more money. Like if I just made my money off of garage sales, right, I could probably make more money. But here's the thing. Garage sales aren't every day, right? Garage sale items, most of the time, they're long tail, right? So you're going to be sitting on that and your money's going to get tied up. With Amazon, right, based on the ranking, and the ranking, I'm telling you, it does not lie. Like that item I had talked about before that sold instantly when I went into the warehouse. I'll just be straight up what they were. I'll just tell you what they were. They were size 15 shoes. I'm thinking, there's no way these size 15 shoes are going to sell that fast, right? Because I'm like, this was an under 1,000 ranking. Yeah. Like, who? Because on eBay, you list a pair of size 15 shoes, it's going to sit.
Yep.
For the most part. These all sold. Huh. Right? And so this is why I'm pushing Amazon right now, because I know that my money's not going to get tied up. I know that the moment it gets into the warehouse, it's going to flip super fast, right? But let's get back to the hustle of the week. So I've been working on making connections with estate sales. So there's different levels of estate sales. There's the person there's groups that put the bids into an estate. And, some people say, I'll sell everything for a 20% cut or 30% cut or 40% cut, blah, blah, blah. And so the family says, okay, we'll go with you. So there's that person. Then there's the end buyer. The very end buyer is whatever is left over from the estate sale. And maybe I got this wrong, but this is how I understand it where we are locally. The last buyer, the end buyer, buys everything, but it's pretty much pennies on the dollar, right? It's kind of like anything, when you're dealing with the store closeout, it's kind of similar to that. So I'm trying to be that guy in between both of those, right? So I've established some relationships and I've gone into some estates and I looked at stuff and I said, I really would like to buy that, but I'm a reseller and so are you. And you understand that I need to make a profit, but these items, these are really long tail. So I don't want to have my money tied up. If you're ever willing to sell this and not pennies on the dollar, I'll give you maybe 10 cents on the dollar. Like, here's my business card. So this has already happened with this individual 2 to 3 times. And so I was contacted and I shared this on the Instagram story. And she had said, hey, I have all this Boy Scout stuff and no one picked it up. And it was a bunch of patches and belt buckles and so on. And she said, let's go meet somewhere and I'll sell these to you. And then we started talking and, and this is where I say you should be very upfront about what you can make on something, especially when you're dealing with another reseller.
Yeah.
Like they understand.
Yeah.
And if they don't, well, you probably don't want to work with that person. True. So, at first she had said, well, these patches, at first they were trying to get, I think $6 to $10 on each patch. And I told her, I said, well, if you're trying to get that much, I got to be, if somebody's going to buy these out for pennies on the dollar, I got to have more than, I got to be able to get a better deal. So, and she understood that and we're friends. So I bought actually, here's the thing. She said 50. I didn't give the first price. And then I said 40. But then, I realized I'm like, do I really want to lowball? Right. So she said, hey, I'll throw in these Boy Scout posters, 50 for all of it. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, why not? So for $50, I want to say I haven't fully counted all of it, but just a rough look, I would say close to 150 patches.
Nice.
Right. I could probably sell 10 of those and I'll already make my, my $50 that I put into it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I bought some belt buckles. I bought some other vintage Boy Scout stuff, all for $50. So now I have, potentially over 100 listings that aren't going to take long. I can just take those pictures really quick, listen really quick, trigger that algorithm during Q4, right? To continue having eBay sales while I'm working on an FBA. So that is my hustle of the week.
I love it. That's really good. And hustles of the week are definitely something to be thankful for. Come on, hustlers. It's the freaking hustle of the week. Yeah. And talking about being thankful, we're also very thankful for people.
We are. So there's 2 groups I want to talk about. So first one is I just want to be thankful for all the reselling people that we know. Yeah. Right. The IG community, the Facebook community, the TikTok community. I mean, Mike and I, and we shared this in the last podcast, and I don't know why we shared it so early. I should have just waited till now. But we have gained so much more from the reselling community than we've put out there. Yeah. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, but I know for us, I think about how much I've learned. This Q4 is going to be way more profitable for me than it was the last 5 Q4s of FBA because I know so much more.
Yep.
Right. Strategically, I source better. As far as margins, I'm working with better margins. As far as when I need to sell things, I have a better understanding of when to flip things on Amazon. As far as eBay, I have a better understanding of what to anticipate as far as sales go for eBay and what I should be sourcing and listing during Q4 to make that efficient. Right? What are some of the things? Can you think back of some of the things that you've kind of gained over it's been over a year. It's been about a year and 3 months, 4 months.
Is that it? I feel like it's like a year and a half almost.
Almost there.
Almost, yeah. So, I mean, it's been huge. The amount of advice that we get from other people, right? People will send, whether it's a comment on YouTube, like, hey, you should check out this program. I mean, we kind of found Pirate Ship through.
Correct. College Picker, we talked about that.
And then, just there's so many things that people have mentioned and said that's been very helpful. Tips that people have had for, cleaning items, listing items. I don't know. Is the other thing you're going to talk about interviews? Is that the separate?
Well, no, that wasn't the other thing, but that goes into all this.
And so like the interviews that we've had, I mean, one of the things I love about our interviews is I learned so much. Like just thinking about like our last interview with Amazing Taste Store, right? Like their experiences with, experimenting is amazing because that's wisdom that I get to glean without having to test it myself, right? And of course they mentioned like take everything as a theory until you test it. But I think there's something to be said of saying like, okay, like people have tried this and these have been the results and it's kind of consistent. And so I can learn from that and then either not make the mistakes they've made or put into effect the things they've done. And then the other thing that you get out of that is just all of like, I love asking the question, like, what's the one or two pieces of life advice that you want to like give to somebody? Because they're so insightful and to realize that everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different experience. And so they have something different to offer. And I think that's one thing I know about myself. Like if I'm just going to like self-reflect is I know that personally, and I think a lot of people are like this, if we're being honest, is it's easy to kind of feel like I know it all. I don't need help. There's certain people you might look to, like I can get help from this person because you can kind of put certain people on pedestals. And then other people you can easily look at and say like, I can't learn anything from you, right? But that's just simply not true. Like if you really were willing to treat everybody as if they had something to contribute to your life and you treated them like kindly and were thankful for them and listened to what they have to say, I mean, it just amazes me how much you can learn. I mean, when we were at eBay Open, having conversations with people and just listening to their life story, it's just so encouraging at times to hear their successes. At times, you can kind of laugh with them as they're talking about their failures and you can relate to them. And just being thankful, you can learn something from anybody, right? Like I learn things from little kids all the time. Like they say things, they do things, the way they interact with the world around them. I'm like, yeah, like that's a good attitude to have. And so thinking about that, just kind of is a reminder to be thankful for the community that you're in. If you're using Instagram, if you're using Facebook, if you're using whatever social media platform, YouTube comments, whatever it is, being thankful to be a part of it. Because sometimes things get heated, right? And I know that because I'm, part of other communities too. And there's times where there can be debates, there can be frustration. And to realize like that is such a good thing. Like that is what allows when two people have two different views on a subject, how to ship, how to do something, and they argue about it and there's debate about it. Everybody ends up ultimately coming out better off, right? Because you're kind of working through the rubbish and you're figuring out what, where's the gold in this, right? You're kind of burning off all of the stuff that's useless and you're getting to better things. And so even in a community where there's people you disagree with, being thankful, it's like, I'm thankful to have this community here because even this person that I don't always agree with, I can learn from them. And what I'm learning might be that I have to sharpen my own arguments and positions. And so having that attitude definitely helps. And instead of being negative about like this person, this group, this thing, is kind of saying like, I'm just so thankful to have this opportunity that I can meet all of these people, talk with all these people.
Well, and that's kind of what I was going to say in the sense that we've learned a lot. And here's the thing. I think there's about 99% of the reselling community that very much understands that everybody has their own business to run, right? They have their own perspective, right? And then there's this handful of people like, this is the only way, you got to do it this way. I can't believe you. You guys are stupid. Da, da, da. We get those comments. We get that feedback. But overall, the community has been very much of, hey, you run things your way. Here's what we do. If this works for you, apply it. And I'm very grateful for that because I don't know. I've been in a lot of, like you said, different communities. I've been in education, and education does lend itself to a lot of like, hey, here's one way to do things better. And it's very welcoming and warm. But there's other parts of the education community that's not like that. No. That it's like you either do it our way or you're antiquated or you're off and you have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm grateful for that because, I think about all the people we've interviewed and every single person we've contacted has always been gracious. It's never been like, nah, who are you guys? Like, you guys only have so many followers on Instagram. You only have so many subscribers. Every single one of them has been willing to be on our podcast, right? And we did have one couple that we wanted, but it wasn't because they didn't think the best of our podcast. It's just they were in a really busy time in life and they couldn't do it, right? And hopefully we'll have them on soon.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. It's, I've been following people on YouTube for years. right? And you get the sense that, people are like this way on camera, but when you meet them in real life, they're probably jerks. I mean, I don't know. Do you ever make those judgments?
For sure.
Okay, right? So we've pretty much met, I would say YouTube personalities, right, on in the reselling niche. And I got to tell you, every single individual is awesome. Like, there are some that are very more public figures. So when you meet them and, one-on-one, they're not as outgoing as they are on their videos, right? But no one's ever turned the shoulder to us or ever said, hey, who do you think you are? Blah, blah. No, instead, when we went to eBay Open, did I say that right?
It's fine.
It's fine. It's been one of those podcasts. Every single individual that we stopped took the time to have a conversation with us, to share their knowledge, and we're just grateful. I mean, it is a very welcoming community. I would say it's a very understanding community. And, we talked about this, Mike, that we've developed friendships with people within the reselling community, right? There are some people that know all about my personal life that if you were asked me a year and a half ago, would I have shared that? No, I wouldn't share that with anybody, right? But that's the kind of friendships that have developed as a result of this community. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's good.
See, the other one is all of you. We are grateful for all of our listeners and all our followers. We would not be here. And I know this sounds kind of like we're just trying to push this, but I'm serious. Like, if you think about how we began, Mike, we were at a Starbucks.
Yep.
All right, we were talking about, okay, what should our name be? Should we do a podcast? Should we even do video? Like, what do we post on Instagram? Do you remember all those conversations we had?
Yep.
And through it all, you guys, especially from the day one peeps, have stuck with us. And you may not have agreed with a lot of things. There's a lot of things you may not agree with Mike. There may be a lot of things you don't agree with Orlando. Right? And hey, that's my personality. I rub people the wrong way. Right? I was an administrator. It comes with the territory. But still, you're willing to look past our personalities. You're willing to look past our fumbles and still appreciate the podcast, appreciate what we post on Instagram, even on TikTok, whatever cringe may be out there. And you continue to support us, whether it is through following us, whether it is through writing reviews, whether it is through finances, through, the link below, whether it's just very, some of the things we get, sometimes people are like, hey, I want to buy through your affiliate link because I want to support what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, really? You don't have, we're just so grateful.
Yeah. It's huge. Yeah. So thankful. Can't say thank you enough. It's the reason we keep doing it, right? Like, honestly, if just to be upfront, because, we're very real and relevant, like, the podcast does not bring in money to make the time worth it, right? Like, if we were just making like a business decision, if I could be sourcing or I could be taking up a part-time job flipping burgers, right? Like, the amount of time we put into this, you make more money doing that, no problem.
I don't know about flipping burgers.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, no,
maybe
absolutely,
the amount of time we spend on social and yeah, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely,
you're right.
100%. But it almost never feels like work because we get such great encouragement and feedback back from you guys. So, we're so thankful that we, again, get to be part of the community and that you guys do so much for us. You support us. You give us, like I said, reviews are so huge. Just leaving, a nice review and commenting and those things, it keeps us going because, we feel like we're a part of something. And that's part of it too is, I was recently talking to a teacher at work who is he's the band teacher. And he was saying that he, when he was in undergraduate school, got like free one-on-one lessons with this piano player who was like charged a ton of money, but like he just took him in under his wing, taught him all kinds of stuff. And at the end of it all, he said, look, the only thing I ask is that someday you pay it forward, right? Like, that you provide back to kids and you do something. And so he does that on his own. This band teacher, like, teaches kids, he private tutors them, and he doesn't charge for it, right? And so I feel in some ways like we get to be blessed to do that, and it doesn't feel like work because you've provided so much for us. The community's provided so much for us that in any way we can, it's just like, hey, pay this forward, because it's one of those things. The more you're willing to put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And if you are just like a passive listener, I got some podcasts that I love and I listen to and I don't interact with them at all. And I feel bad at times because it's like, man, like, I know what it means to me. Like, I should just jump on their social or something and say, like, what it means to me, because being a part of the community, being active in it, you'll be surprised. The more, just test it out. Just try some social media. Make a profile, follow some other resellers, follow some other podcasts, follow some other YouTubers, start communicating, and you'll be surprised. You have something to offer, and it makes a big difference in the community.
Agreed. And, I'm thankful for the fact that some of you actually do take the time to contact us, right? Let us know how reselling and via the podcast has been able to change your life, right? Because, sometimes we go, well, hopefully we brought value on this episode, right? But it still happens, right? So we're just, I don't know. I can't put into words how grateful I am.
And hopefully the value, I mean, we do have the hustles of the week and some things that we provided this one. It wasn't like a specific tip. Like a lot of times people are just looking for fast, like 5 things you can do to increase your sales by 5,000% next week, right? And so, we didn't have like that kind of information here, but I really firmly believe, especially as we're going into Thanksgiving, right? This is a good time to have an episode like this. I just encourage you all to take a little bit of time, step back, and consider all the things about reselling that you're thankful for, all the things that reselling has done for you, all the opportunities it's opened up, the relationships it's developed. And it helps you to not just be drowning in the negativity, because negativity, it's contagious. It feeds on itself. And, you want to find other people who are being negative, and you don't feel better about it. Like nobody, the knots in your stomach, the frustration levels, the high blood pressure doesn't go away the more you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. Like it gets worse. And of course, there's times when like there's an emergency situation you have to address. But a lot of times it's like things that are outside of your control, and just taking a moment, especially this time of the year, to just be like, what am I thankful for? In life in general, but specifically with reselling, can help realign you and get you fresh, especially as we're coming up to the new year, and kind of, again, another time of year where you can be thinking about like, how can I think differently? Because the way you think is going to be how you act and feel, right? Like you act and feel the way you do because of the way you think. And so if in any way you can address that and kind of force yourself at times even to be thankful, it will pay dividends. And then I don't want to forget too, like, everybody who resells, I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions out there that were just 100% solo. You don't have any kind of support system in life at all. But I think all of us, for the most part, have some kind of support system. It might not be like a reselling partner. Some of us are blessed to have that, but it's something, right? Like it's a friend, it's a connection that you have, it's an opportunity, doors that have opened. It's people who've helped you out in different ways. Somebody's willing to watch your kids. Somebody's willing to, like, whatever it ends up being, just taking time to be thankful for those people. Like in my life, it's my wife. It's my family. Her parents have done so much for us. Like we're the studio we're at right now is because of them. And so just taking time to be thankful for those people in your life that help you.
I agree. That's a great point, because, I think about all the times that, like last night, 2 a.m, and I have friends, on social. They're more than friends on social, but that's how we connect. And they're like, hey, late night packing, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Everything all good. It's like, wow. Like, there is that support system, right? And I don't have that, significant other, but that's all right, because I have plenty of people out there, right, that are willing to keep me accountable and continue encouraging me. And I'm super, super grateful for that. So with all that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling.
And thankful.
It's Thanksgiving. Late.